Afternoon, everybody. What's going on, Rag Guy? Sorry we're a few minutes late. Just had to get some tech stuff figured out, but we're good. Josh, you want to elaborate on that Brandon Ayuk thing?
Yeah, so I didn't hear much about it. I just got a notification from Sleeper saying that Shanahan hints towards Ayuk gaining his starting role back. So
Okay.
maybe I can find the clip from the beat reporters on Twitter that I follow, but
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm doing several things at once, so give me a few minutes.
Yeah, I feel like Shanahan always has something. There's always something else in that, right? It's never just the statement that's put out. There's always something extra that needs to be brought up that beat reporters specifically leave out of the mix. What's going on, John? He says, "Take that hat off," to Josh.
No, never.
Oh, this isn't a
No.
basketball show, but my buddy told me that the Clippers are moving stadiums next year or in the coming seasons.
Oh,
It's,
interesting.
it's going to be because he knows that because it's going to. Well, actually, I don't know if this is breaking news or not, but so he works for Intuit, and it's supposed to be called the Intuit Dome or something like that. So I actually don't know if that's breaking news or if that's been announced to the public. So I might get in trouble for saying that.
Who cares? It's
Yeah,
family
who
first,
cares?
right?
Who cares? Yeah, nobody knows who that is. We're good. But yeah, apparently they're moving out of the Staples Center soon.
Hell yeah. I like it. I'm a fan.
What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. Welcome to the last stream of the week. One of our favorites to do on the strong side here. We're going to be going. This is a specific fantasy show. It's not DFS centered. It's specifically centered around season-long fantasy. D-Ramified, what's going on? Good afternoon. And yeah, we have some stuff to talk about, especially last night. I had a really, really tough decision that I wanted to bring up here on the show today. Didn't work out the greatest for me, um, but it is what it is. So, good morning, Dan. What's going on, Fatty? I had the decision of whether I had to figure out playing Saquon Barkley or going so low as to start Tony Pollard on Sunday against the Chargers. That was my decision.
Tuesday.
And
And
I ended up going with Barkley because I felt like he was just going to get a little bit of extra work. And that was actually true that he did get a little extra work, but it didn't. I have a feeling that Tony Pollard's going to beat him up on Sunday.
probably. That's
So,
where I would lean.
yeah.
But hindsight.
Yep. So Barkley finished the night with 8.9 PPR points, which is pathetic. So especially when his team scored 29 points.
Yeah.
Uh, John said, "Scary Terry, big game for the Dynasty League." Yeah, we'll go and look at your team here because you probably have a leg up in that matchup, I would say, just without even looking at it. What's going on, Mario? What's up, Mills? 84% of plays for Saquon, and he only got 8.9 PPR points. Oh, okay. The Clippers news is actually has actually been posted already. So
Oh,
thank the
sweet.
Lord.
There you go.
I'm not in trouble anymore. Yeah, we talked. If you guys missed it, Dan, I'm actually interested to hear what your thoughts are on this. The Clippers announced that they are moving out of Staples Center, and they're going to be going to a new stadium in Inglewood called the Intuit Dome, or something like that. I know it's a basket. This is an NFL show, but that caught my mind or caught my eye earlier today. Let's see. John said, "Didn't Barkley outscore Gibson?" Yes. No, actually, no, he didn't. So Gibson got 9.3 PPR points. So beat him out by 0.4.
Woohoo.
That's not really something to celebrate.
No, it's not. That's why it was an unenthusiastic woohoo.
Yeah,
But
yeah. What's up, Mills? Yeah, Dan says good riddance. Yep, Dan is very particular about his LA squads, as he should be.
I have a little question to pose to you. I have a similar dilemma in one of my bigger, more high stakes dynasty leagues, I have Rodgers and
Okay.
I have Jalen Hurts,
Oh, that's
and
fun.
I don't know which one to go with right now. I think they're both such good options for Week 1. I feel like Aaron Rodgers is the right answer, but man, do I just freaking love Jalen Hurts this week. I don't know. I'm stuck.
Yeah, so another thing that I saw to bring up the Rodgers point is that the game's at home on primetime Monday night, and it's going to be the first 100% capacity home game since 2019. And the last home game I'm pretty sure was the Lions, I think that year. So uh, I'm not going to say. I think that you have to lean with Rodgers a little bit, but I will say Jalen Hurts' floor is very safe. Whereas
Yeah,
Rodgers, obviously he probably won't do it again this year, but that floor of like whatever it was, like 1.5, two Fanduel like fantasy points is just that can be in the cards, I guess.
for sure. I don't know. I'm still 50-50 on it, so we'll see. I don't know where I'm going to land yet, but
Yeah. The more we talk about it, I feel like I'll probably lean Hurts' way. Um, but this does scream like we all know, well, at least I know, that Rodgers is he's going to take this one personally, even though he might not seem like he is in media. Um, and it could be a real show on Monday night. That's all I'll say. Could be a 3 touchdown, 4 touchdown half kind of day.
yeah, I agree with you. So the 49ers OC said that Ayuk has responded well after limited action.
Okay.
Said that just a few minutes ago. Oh, here's the direct quote. Head coach Kyle Shanahan said Brandon Ayuk would have got his spot completely back if not for a hamstring injury before the team's
Mm-hmm.
final preseason game.
Okay. See,
So,
there you go. There's the extra piece that we were talking about.
yeah,
Kind of important to
exactly.
include that.
Yeah.
Econics, what's
Time
going
to
on?
move Ayuk back into my high stakes lineup.
I have him somewhere, and
Boop.
we'll find out where. I don't remember. I'm in 5 leagues on Sleeper and like 2 leagues on ESPN, and who knows. So,
Yeah. I I
speaking of Sleeper, I
know.
definitely did not get Sermon out of my lineups in one of the free leagues last week.
Neither did I. I was like, oh no, no wonder I lost by so much. But in that league where I have Sermon, I also drafted Elijah Mitchell. So go me.
There you go. By the time all that news rolled around, I was nowhere near any of that. He was long gone. All right. Guys, we have a obviously special day planned. We have a special guest coming on at 12:30, 1:30 Eastern time. So about 15 minutes from now. We're going to start diving in and taking some fantasy questions. If you guys have any concerns in your um, friends leagues, in your work leagues, in your family leagues, it's all, the floor is open. We'll answer all of your questions that come through. Where's the Niners sweatshirt at? Well, I
Good
lost on
question.
Wednesday. I lost on
Yeah.
Wednesday, and that was my punishment, Econics. So it's Wednesdays are only reserved for if I lose the survival of the sharpest contest that we do on FanDuel every week. So I have a feeling I'm not going to be wearing it next week, Josh.
Hey, we'll see, man. I have a feeling that I'm certainly not gonna have to go out and buy some Packers gear, so it's gonna be interesting to see. Hopefully, I can find. I'm pretty sure, and because I'm gonna have to order it, but I'm not gonna order it until I lose. Got to keep that strong mentality, that strong
There you go.
mindset. I'm gonna keep winning. But if I lose this week, then I'm just gonna have to go to like a local lids or something and get like a hat for right now until I'm able to order. I don't know. I'm deciding between a jersey or just a shirt. I'm not sure yet.
There you go. There you go. All right, let's all right, well we'll just we'll keep chatting as long as you guys are cool with that. If you want to post some questions in the chat in regards to who you want to sit and start this week, there are some interesting conversations going around right now. I think people are, and we can, I'll allude to this right now since there's only a few of you guys listening. But we have a podcast to do right after this show for the week 2 NFL weekend of DFS. So Josh, I'm seeing a lot of people centered around guys like Tim Patrick and guys like KJ Hamler. Even the running backs, I think that they're going to make some noise in DFS in terms of ownership. Now, I want to hear your thoughts because I know we both kind of talked Hamler earlier in the week, but I'm kind of drifting towards. Obviously, I like Fant, and I would play him probably over most of the Denver team. But Tim Patrick's really growing on me, and I'm not sure that's necessarily people's first guy that they think of in this system when they think about who's replacing Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I'm kind of still split on that Denver game. I'm excited to talk about it. By the way, for all the NFL members that are here, we are going to have the NFL members only podcast right after we get off the strong side. And we're going to talk about every game, go game by game, break everything down that you need to know. I think this game is interesting though. I think you do see a lot of ownership here, and I guess I'm just scared all around. Like I think even the receiving options are a little bit scary outside of maybe Fant. But I don't know. I think you can go to a Hamler. I think you can go to a Tim Patrick. I don't know their price tags off the top of my head, but I'm sure they're at cheap price tags regardless. So
Yeah. So for me, I think people not like they're overestimating KJ Hamler because he definitely has game-breaking speed, and I think that we saw that a lot last year. I just don't think that he's the down and distance guy as much as Judy is, right? I don't know if he, I don't know if him and Bridgewater are necessarily on that same wavelength. Um, I'm a little bit hesitant to just say KJ Hamler's a streamer option here. If he's your only choice at a flex position, like I don't think that KJ Hamler makes for a wide receiver. Uh, he doesn't make for a wide receiver two for me at all, and a flex spot at the very least. Would you say flex? If you have one flex spot, I know we have most of our leagues have two flex spots, but if you only had one and you're in a half PPR league, would you even consider rostering a guy like KJ Hamler?
I mean, it all depends on your options, right? Who do you have available for that flex spot? Especially if you only have one, you should have plenty of guys available for that one spot. I
Yep.
think if you have two, it's probably more likely to go Hamler. But if you just have one flex spot, I don't know. I probably wouldn't go there unless you don't have anyone else. Like you would need to have basically no other weapons to go Hamler a single flex spot.
Right, right. Yep, Dan, this is every Friday is a season-long special show. We're going to be bringing on a special guest every single week that's in the RotoRadar Dynasty or one of our paid leagues, and we'll talk to them and kind of break down what's going to happen for them each week, what decisions they have to do, what they're nervous about, who they're up against, and standings, things like that. Makes things competitive. That first guest comes on in about 10 minutes, so make sure to stick around for that. First question from the chat comes from John. He asks, pick one of these three: Jacobs, Gaskin, or Tyson Williams.
Talk
Okay.
about a terrible three.
Yeah.
I think I can poke holes in every single play that you just mentioned. If I had to pick one, I guess it would be Gaskin, probably. But like, I don't feel good about any of the three.
Yeah, I don't feel great about it. I will say Gaskin. I probably choose Gaskin over Jacobs. I don't like Jacobs' matchup against Pittsburgh. Gaskin's not a walk in the park either, but I do think that they use him in the trailing scenario in a negative game script as well. And then Tyson Williams, that's in that Sunday night game against the Chiefs. The main thing I'm afraid of is there was reports that came out that said that he is no longer going to be the guy that he was last week. Right? There were reports that came out that said they're going to start using the majority of their backs, and they actually did sign Devontae Freeman to the 53-man roster as well. We also saw Latavius Murray jump in there and get a touchdown, and obviously Lamar is still present as well. So I'm completely off Tyson Williams unless you absolutely need him as a running back too because you don't have anybody else.
Yeah, it's tough to go. I mean, it's. I hate to pat ourselves on the back, but like it's exactly what we said would happen with that Baltimore backfield, and I'm pretty sure Harbaugh or the OC even confirmed it, saying that football is not a one running back game anymore. You need to have multiple running backs, and they plan on sharing the ball. They plan on giving the ball to Latavius Murray, to basically everyone in that backfield, which
Yep.
scares the heck out of me for Williams. So I'm going to stay away from that Baltimore running back situation. I also think that Miami kind of has a similar situation. We saw that Malcolm Brown was in for more running snaps. We saw that
Yep.
Gaskin barely even played 50% of the snaps. Like, it's just, and then you have Josh Jacobs, who we don't even know is fully healthy yet. Like, I don't know if you saw the injury designation on Wednesday, but the reason he was out from practice was because of literally everything. That's what they
Yeah,
had,
it
his
said
injury
everything.
designation.
Yep.
Yeah, it's insane to think. So like he's got to be injured coming into this week, and it's a tough matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers of all teams. Like you have three really bad options there. I don't know if this is for your flex spot or your RB2 spot, but if it's for your flex spot, you should probably give us some wide receivers to consider as well, because unless it's RB2 and you have to start one of these guys, I'd stay away from all three.
Yeah, the Jacobs play scares me. Like the fact that we don't even know what that injury was. The first thing that I thought was possible turf toe because he had to change shoes and then he was still uncomfortable. So something happened in that first quarter, and he just didn't look right. He walked to the sideline, limped over there like 2 or 3 times during the course of the game. Jacobs, yeah, terrifying situation. Also, we saw a lot of Kenyon Drake down the stretch too, which even furthers my point. So it's a
Yep.
gross area. All three of those guys now have huge holes in them to poke. So yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be really interesting to see how that goes moving forward. Okay, Mills. Next question here. What do you think, Brady or Prescott? So Tom Brady against Atlanta or Dak Prescott against the LA Chargers. Both games have point totals over 50, Josh. So I'm interested to see what you think of that. And then obviously this Chargers game, I feel like is all signs point to this being a barn burner to me.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I'm a little bit scared about the defense for the Chargers. Like if they're going to put a lot of pressure on Dak, then
Sure.
what are we thinking? So I kind of I lean with Tom Brady probably in that scenario, but I think it is super close between the two.
Yeah, if I had to pick a side, it would be Brady. I think that there's a narrative there that many won't think is a real narrative, but I certainly think it is going against the Falcons. I know, again, like I said on this morning's stream, that obviously he won the Super Bowl against them. So what else does he have to prove? But he's a competitive guy, and we've seen that. And I think that the actual the video that he posted earlier in the week just showed that maybe he just wants to beat them the right way, right? Like come out the gates and just pound them in. So um, I don't know. For me, I think I lean Brady, but I also think that we've seen Dak Prescott's ceiling now in a really really tough matchup. So it's close, but I think I lean Brady as well.
Yep, for sure.
How good of a play is the Broncos defense again this week? Yeah, the Broncos get a very good opening first 2 weeks. First against the Giants offense, and now against the Jaguars offense, who put up less than 10 points in their first game. So for me, I think the Broncos D is probably one of the most solid plays on the board, especially from where you drafted them, because I don't think that in your drafts they were probably in the top 8 in getting taken. So I think that the Broncos defense is one of the most underrated plays of the season.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you in that. And I think they're an amazing play this week. I mean, we saw Trevor Lawrence turn over the ball 3 times last week, and I wouldn't be surprised to see more against a much better defense compared to the Texans defense. So sign
Agreed.
me up. I think the Broncos defense is going to be absolutely dominant this week.
Okay, next question comes from Mills. It's a very similar running back. Uh, we're getting a lot of the same running back questions, which is fine because each situation is a little bit different. But he wants to know if you'd roster Mike Davis, Melvin Gordon, or Miles Gaskin.
At least this one's easy for me. I'd very easily go Melvin Gordon with his week 1
Yeah.
performance. I believe that he's still going to hold on to his job at least. And while it's a split in a spot where I expect him to get a lot of work against the Jags. So I like Melvin Gordon in that grouping of guys.
Yeah, it's a clear tier above the other two for me as well. Gordon, while he's going to cede some of his touches to Javonte, it's going to be a spot where I still think that he's the lead goal line back in a spot where they should be in the red zone quite a bit. So I wouldn't be surprised to see another Melvin Gordon touchdown, if not 2 touchdown performances. Is that first game a little bit fluky with that late 70-yard touchdown run? A little bit. I'm surprised he could still do it, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, he's definitely in play here. The defenses are very, very different in the Giants and the Jaguars. Let's see. Okay, good tight end question. Dallas Goedert or Kyle Pitts, Josh? I think that the answer is pretty clear here.
Is it? I don't know if it is really clear here. I don't know. I think it's extremely tough. I think Pitts is just fine. I don't know how your matchup is, but I kind of like Goddard too. So I want to hear your opinion because I'm really split on this 50-50. I'm surprised you say it's an easy one way or the other.
Yeah, I just think that I don't really want to mess with the linebacking core of Tampa. I think that Levante David's going to be responsible for guarding Kyle Pitts for the majority of the game, and they'll probably double him in some scenarios. I think Ridley's a better play than Kyle Pitts, and I know we didn't get to, like, that wasn't part of the question, but I think that with the injury to Zach Ertz, I know he's still going to probably play and suit up for this one, but give me Goddard here over Pitts. I think for me it's a little bit clearer.
Yeah, I completely understand. The only thing I worry about is like how much is he going to actually get covered by Levante David? Because the fact
Fair
that
point.
we saw him very rarely be with the line, like he usually goes out wide. That's where they have him line up in that system. So I don't know. I completely understand it. I agree that if I had to lean one way, it would be Dallas Goddard. We just saw TJ Hawkinson burn that 49ers crew. And I think you probably see something similar from Goddard, especially with Ertz injured right now. So I like Dallas Goddard quite a bit. I just don't want to underestimate Pitts. I don't want to underestimate that whole offense. I think that the passing side of things could do some things this weekend.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, maybe I'm overreacting in the Kyle Pitts thing, so I probably am. I know that we all got burned by him last week, as the majority of people who started him were definitely burned by that. Do you have Kyle Pitts exposure in your season longs?
I have him in the Dynasty League, I think, right? Let me double check. No, I have TJ in this league.
Because I
So do
don't
I
I
have?
didn't draft him at all personally.
Yeah, I don't. Oh no, I have him in the $25 buy-in
Okay,
league.
yeah.
Which I mean, I feel kind of fishy for doing that, but I I did not have a very good draft in that league, so it is what it is.
All right. Yeah, I didn't draft him at all, so it's kind of tough for me to just kind of rule him out there without having at
Yeah.
least a little bit of intrigue in him. All right.
I mean, here, my tight ends in this league are Pitts and Jarwin. So that kind of tells you where
Oh,
I'm left
okay.
at.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
kind of forced to start Pitts in this start.
that's understandable. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Moore 91, Debo, Pitts, Myers, pick one for flex in a PPR league. So those guys again, Debo, Kyle Pitts, and Jacoby Myers.
Think you can rule out Kyle Pitts. I think that it's kind of close between Debo and Myers. I would keep a close eye on what they are saying about Ayuk because if Ayuk does come back, then he is going to be wide receiver one and probably going to be the top option for Jimmy G.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like the Jacoby Myers play this week. I mean, we just saw how much the Carolina defense was able to torch that Jets defense. Jacoby Myers picked up 9 targets last week. He kind
Yep.
of had an underwhelming performance, even with having 9 targets. So I think as Mac Jones gets more comfortable in that starting role and they're able to air it out a little bit more, Jacoby Myers will be the benefit. So I like Jacoby Myers. I think this would be the spot to start him over those other two.
Yeah, give me Jacoby as well. Like you said, 9 targets for this guy. He's going to get it. Like eventually, it's going to click, and eventually they're going to get in a rhythm with that. The guy is too good, too talented, and he's going to he's going to figure it out. Mac Jones threw the ball 39 times last week in a very slow game against Miami. They get who do they get this week? The Patriots.
Patriots get the Jets.
That's yeah, of course, yeah. This is what I get for multitasking.
Yeah.
So the Jets, yeah, I give me that too. I think that it's going to be a slow. Like all the Patriots games are going to be slow, and I know they're going to be run centric, but Give me, I mean, the Niners have the same story, right? So they're going to be run centric, run heavy as well.
For
Give me
sure.
Jacoby Myers here because I don't think anybody else on this team really scares me from a target share perspective outside of Nelson Aguilar, but I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, next question is Mike Davis or Leonard Fournette. So this one is, I'm not going to say tough necessarily. It would have been tough if we just had like if we had this discussion on Sunday. I think it would be tough. But now that we know that Ronald Jones is going to be starting against the Falcons, uh, I don't know. I mean, is this a tough one for you? Because I think I lean Mike Davis just because of the even though the matchup's terrible, I think I lean the workload for Mike Davis.
Yeah, that's probably where I lean, especially because Arians came out this week and said that Rocco, Fournette, and Bernard are all starters in this offense. That's a really tough thing to say when you have these guys in consideration
Yeah,
as season-long fantasy running backs, or just, I mean, DFS running backs. Like those guys are basically untouchable now. But yeah, I think I would lean with workload. Also, when Mike Davis played against this Tampa team with Carolina, I'm not going to say it's going to be a exact, he's going to do exactly the same stuff, but he did play pretty well. He was kind of a PPR machine when he faced off against Tampa last year. So, something to keep in mind.
for sure. Who's top lowest salary tight end this weekend? Econics, we're actually not going to do DFS questions, but I think I can answer this one. Um, I think your answer is, or your question is, who's the cheapest that we would go to for tight end? And that's probably James O'Shaughnessy. I think that's where you're leaning with that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Let's see. Bench one, Sanders, Montgomery, or Derrick Henry. Hopefully it's Derrick Henry. I think it should be. I don't
Bench
know.
one. Can you repeat the names again?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
even.
Yeah, Sanders, Miles Sanders, David Montgomery, or Derrick Henry.
Bench. I don't know where you're leaning on this, but if I had to bench one, I think it's David Montgomery.
I think I would do the same, even though I think his matchup is a little bit better than Sanders. So it's between one of those two for me.
Yeah,
Uh, that's really tough, actually. I think that they get roughly the same workload. Sanders and Montgomery do. If I had
that's
to
a good
choose
point.
one, I would probably choose Montgomery. Or no, sorry, to bench, I would choose Sanders because I think that Montgomery doesn't have to worry about a quarterback stealing his touchdowns necessarily.
Yeah, that's a good point. I
That's
mean, you
actually
kind
a
of
lot
do because
closer than I thought. Oh yeah,
Fields
you're
came
right.
in and
You're right.
stole it, so you kind of do have to worry about it.
You're right.
Um, I don't know. It's super close between the two, in my opinion. Whether you go, it's either Sanders or Montgomery. I know that for sure. I slightly lean Montgomery, but I think it's extremely close.
Yeah, I think that Derrick Henry has a bounce back spot this week against the Seahawks. I like that game environment a lot. He has the best game environment out of all three of them, so you're definitely not benching him. Um, but yeah, it's close. It's close. I think I'll lean with the Sanders benching side and take Montgomery there.
Yeah.
Would you start Kaseki over Zach Ertz this week?
Uh, yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. I don't know. The only thing I worry about, doesn't Miami get back Will Fuller this week, or is it next week?
I'll have to double check that. I don't really follow much Miami news just because I don't like playing them for DFS. So we'll look into that. But I think you're right.
Yep, Will Fuller is returning from his suspension this week,
Yeah.
so
No thanks.
I mean you're bad in both spots, right? I think I slightly lean Ertz, but I don't know. You're bad off in both spots. Jaceki didn't even get the majority of the tight end um time, like snaps percentage wise on the field last week. Like so I don't know. Jaceki is an interesting case. I don't know if I'm overreacting to him or not, but I am a little bit scared about his prospects for the rest of the season.
Yeah, he's a freak athlete in all remarks, so I'm not going to talk bad about that. I just feel like the rest of the offense, he was just a much better fit with Fitzpatrick at quarterback, and I don't know how much I can trust him being a tight end in a Tua-led offense just yet.
For
All right,
sure.
let's see. I have four running backs need to pick up two this week. I'm leaning Montgomery Eckler. So I guess we would deramified. Oh, okay. Here's the four running backs, Josh. He has four. Needed to pick two. He has Montgomery, Austin Eckler, Najee Harris, and Daryl Henderson. So congratulations first on your running back picks.
Yeah,
And then I would say you need to put one of those guys in your flex because I don't think that you have enough wide receiver options to make that flex any better than your running back plays. So I don't know. I mean, Montgomery Eckler, obvious starts. Would you go Najee Harris or Daryl Henderson?
I would go with Najee Harris. I think Najee Harris is in a great spot against the Raiders. I think it is close between the two, just because we saw Henderson be on the field so much in that Week 1 game against the Bears. But I think I slightly lean Najee Harris.
Yeah, I also agree with the Najee Harris take. Eventually, again, I think people are going to overreact and worry about his workload. Not the greatest start, obviously, to his NFL career, but I think that Najee's going to get the job done this week against the Raiders. All right,
For
we'll
sure.
make sure to I'll timestamp where we are with this so we can come back to the other questions. We have our special guest on the line for this week's fantasy football chat with the RotoRadar leagues. Mr. Sean, how you doing, sir?
Doing great, man. Super excited to talk about the season long format. We can talk all about the high stakes league. In regards to the season long, the dynasty league, I don't know. I don't know. We might just gloss over the fact that I just got spanked by 3 times my total points by the dude here on the stream. So we're listen, we're doing great in the high stake league. We're off to a 1-0 start, feeling great. Dynasty league, a little bit different story.
Right, exactly. Let's move over and talk about that here. I do have the high stakes league pulled up, so we can talk about that first. All right. So I'm just gonna make sure that my cam is all good here. Should be good in a second. Just want to make sure we're all set there. All right, cool. Yeah. So basically, um, I think we all started out with a 1-0 start in the high stakes league, guys. So pats on the back to us for that.
I
And I want to see, did you either of you guys have anybody in play last night? Let's check this out.
No, I did. Don't even
Oh,
don't
you
even try
did.
to play it off. Don't even try to play it off.
You did. Oh, you already
Yeah.
went on
Oh,
the.
Josh. Oh, you had. Who was that? Who'd you have in play?
Yeah, it was a certain guy that doesn't matter to me anymore. So we can just gloss over it and call it a day.
He's dead to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he might
Yeah.
as well be. Yeah,
I didn't
I
have
had
anybody.
Antonio Gibson in as my RB1, which it's fine. You got to get some bad week. Not every week can be an amazing week for your running back crew, and Gibson definitely had his down day yesterday, so it's okay. Got vultured by J.D. McKissick, but it is what it is.
Yeah, all I'm seeing right now, and I'm just taking my eyes off everything else except for this Steph Curry salt meme that's just constantly replaying at the top of the screen. So
It's
we need
so
some.
annoying how these gifs just keep replaying in the chat because I've been watching it too, and it's I don't know, it's distracting to say the least.
All right, let's pull up Sean's matchup this week. The matchup is exactly 50% on both sides. You're facing Brian, who I don't know if he's in the stream, but I know that he'll be joining
Oh.
shortly, Sean.
Oh,
But yeah,
Brian's going down, Jer. We already have a $200 wager on this week's
oh,
matchup.
Wow.
We're betting 200 bones on this one. So he said, and he was the one that came to me. I don't like taking our members' money. You know what I mean? But I mean, if he's volunteering to put 200 bucks in my pocket, I'm not going to turn it down. You know what I mean?
oh, of course. I mean, this one's going to be really, really close, and I think a lot of it has to do. A lot of your success is going to lean on your QB and your running back one, McCaffrey and Josh Allen this week. Both in tougher spots than his QB1 and RB1. But the thing that concerns me, and I'm looking at it right now, as you can see on the screen, he's got both Justin Herbert and Austin Eckler against Dallas. Now, I don't know how I would feel about that personally. And Josh, maybe you can speak to this, but this correlation is not the greatest, although I do think it could work out for him in this spot. How do you see these? Because I think that this matchup kind of plays out right with these top two spots.
Yeah, I mean, like you're talking about the Herbert and Eckler
Y-
correlation, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the Herbert and Eckler correlation, especially with the news that, this Dallas Cowboys team, they're going to be without DeMarcus Lawrence. He's out due to an injury, and they could possibly be without Randy Gregory as well because he got tested positive for COVID earlier this week. That means you're losing your 2 starting edge rushers for the Cowboys. That's huge for Herbert's game, and honestly huge for Eckler's game too. So I don't know. You talked about being a barn burner. I feel like these two could set your team on fire a little bit, Sean, with Herbert and Eckler.
Yeah. I think it definitely could be an issue. I'm not super thrilled about this matchup, obviously, for his running back one and his quarterback. I will say though, I think my team's deeper than his team. I think it is. I think if you really look at the flex positions and obviously the tight end as well, and really his wide receivers. I know DK Metcalf is that dude, but like I'm not really concerned about Davis. So I mean, hey, call me what you want to call me. We know that this could be definitely a smash spot for him, but your boy's not going down without a fight. I think that this is going to be very competitive. And what happens? What happens when Herbert and Eckler have an off game? What happens if one of those guys just doesn't perform well? We know that there's a chance of that. Then all of a sudden, I mean, he's really betting a lot on that team, and he will continue to throughout the entire season. Not a bad team to bet on, by the way. I think things could really go up in flames for him this week, Josh.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I can't believe you're dissing Corey Davis, man. That's my guy, right? That's been my guy all preseason, Corey Davis. So
Yeah.
we'll have to see. I'm excited. I think this is a really good matchup. I think that you both have interesting sides. I think that you probably have a little bit of an advantage at the running back position where you have McCaffrey, who has been getting a ton of touches and is going to continue getting a ton of touches. You have Darrell Henderson, who, like I said, really like the fact that he stayed on the field for nearly the entire game in his
Yeah.
last game against the Rams. And then you have Kareem Hunt, who's just in a great spot when it comes to game script wise. Because they're going to be up by so much against Houston, you should see Hunt get those touches and look good against that bad Houston defense.
Yeah, we'll see. Should be fun. It's going to be a fun week. There's no doubt about that. I think that regardless of how it turns out, we're in for a little bit of a sweat. Whether I win or he wins, somebody's going to be walking away with an extra $200. So could be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Definitely be a lot of fun.
the thing that I'm most interested in and where I think this matchup gets decided outside of that top 2 spots is this tight end and 2 flex range because
Yeah.
that Mike Davis play could be very, very scary for Brian because of that Tampa Bay front 7. I also think you have the leg up with Henderson there. Kittle and Fant is a very interesting matchup just because a lot of the DFS industry is very, very high on Noah Fant this week with no Jerry Jeudy against Jacksonville. So that's going to be a very interesting one to watch. And then finally, you guys get to sweat out both of your players. I don't think either of you have a Monday night player. So Sunday night plays of Sammy Watkins versus Marquise Brown against Kansas City is going to be very, very important and honestly could decide how this one plays out.
That would be absolutely wild, right? Like if it all comes down to that last flex spot and we're just sweating out who has the better game between Hollywood and Watkins. I mean, imagine. I mean, there's a really good chance that both of these guys do really well. So we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. We know that the shootouts are going to happen. They're inevitable when anytime that you go and you face off against this Chiefs team. I think we could see some fireworks from both of these wideouts.
Oh, it definitely will be fireworks on Sunday night. Give me that all day. It's going to be interesting to see who it is. Early, it looked like it was Watkins, and then Brown got the touchdown. So Brown definitely had the leg up there. But yeah, interesting because Watkins also returns to the team that he won a Super Bowl with. So very interesting to see how this one's going to happen. We do have some breaking news, Josh, that pertains to Brian's fantasy team. It's going to be Chargers news. The Chargers placed right tackle Brian Bulaga on injured reserve with a back injury, so he is out.
Let's go.
The majority
of the
season. Yeah.
I hate to be that guy though. I don't want to take victory laps on injuries, but that's big news, man.
Very big news.
Big news.
It was only a matter of time. We talked about the Chargers offensive line and how they made some incredibly productive moves to bolster that line to protect Justin Herbert and get that ground game going again. It's Brian Bulaga, one of the most injury-prone tackles in the league, goes on IR yet again. We also have some more IR news. Bad news for me, Josh. The Packers placed Zadarius Smith on injured reserve with a back injury, so he's out
Oh
for
no.
the first 6 weeks of the year at least.
Man, that stinks. It makes me feel even better about playing Rodgers in one of my other leagues now, because I feel like it's going to be could potentially be a shootout. I don't know. That's
No, it
big
will be.
news though.
It will be. That's exactly what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah. Packers' best edge rusher is out for the. That's not a good look. And also, it also increases the stock of the Lions running backs. So if you were unfortunate enough to draft one of those guys, you now get a free pass this week.
Yes, you definitely do.
All right. Let's talk about some of the other matchups here. I know we have non-viable carpet in here. He's in this league,
Mm.
so let's take a look at his matchup, and that's going to be against Brady Bunch, who KJ is also, I think, in this stream. He might be in here. John, is Hollywood playing? He should be. Right now, we don't necessarily know 100%, but we'll get that practice report today. He's questionable. He should be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Hollywood, from everything that I've seen, I think he'll be okay by Sunday. Obviously, I'll be keeping a close eye on that. It does pose the question though, if he gets ruled out, who the fuck do I play? Because my bench, woo! Hey, listen, my team is stacked, guys, but it's not stacked when it gets to the bench. It's not at all. I don't know if you want to show that to the people here, but man, my bench is rough, Jared.
Well, I'll tell you, you got one good play in here, and I think that it's actually a really solid play. Rondale Moore should be your guy that you roll out if anybody gets hurt on your team.
Okay. Okay.
Yep, I
All right.
like him quite a bit. He's going to be. I think last week was a little bit of an overreaction, Josh, in that Christian Kirk went off in that game. I think Rondale Moore is the truth, and I think he's a guy that's going to be their wide receiver 2 behind Hopkins this year.
Better remember that Kirk didn't even run the third most routes on that team that day. I think it's an anomaly to see him absolutely pop off in week 1, and I think that Rondale Moore's definitely a good option here. He's going to be a PPR guy throughout the rest of the season.
So I
He
have at
certainly
least
will.
one bench play, guys. At least
Yeah,
one.
Yeah,
at
you
least
do.
one.
You do.
Okay.
Yeah, none of I don't wouldn't roster any of your other bench players at least right now.
So if 2 people get hurt, I'm just fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We're gonna be looking at the waiver wire. I'll tell you that much.
Okay. Let's go and look at non-viable carpets team. All right. He's going up against Brady Bunch. You had some plays in this game from last night. Looks like it was Logan Thomas and the Washington defense versus the Giants defense. Didn't work out for either defenses. That Washington defense play yesterday, I got burned by as well. So that we've talked about that enough. I think that's exhausting at this point. So
Yeah.
let's talk about these other plays in here. We do have Kyler Murray against Dak Prescott. I love Murray this week. I think Murray is the QB1. So if you guys have Murray in your leagues, you should be in a good spot this week. The interesting part is the correlation with Chase Edmonds. I think it works. It's not my favorite, but it works. I think that they will use him out of the backfield, and this should be a good spot against Minnesota to do that. Josh, he has his. So Brady's running backs are Jonathan Taylor against the Rams and Myles Gaskin against Buffalo. Neither matchup is good. So I think it's actually kind of close, but I have to give the edge to Taylor and Gaskin because the other running backs are Chase Edmonds and James White.
Yeah, but that's tough, right? Like I don't know. Taylor was encouraging last week in the fact that he still got his touches while Naeem Hines got his touches. So it's good to see, but that Rams defense is going to be tough to go up against, especially with Aaron Donald up front. And I don't know. I mean, like both of these guys don't have very good running backs, so like it is what it is. But yeah, I think I agree with you in siding with the Brady Bunch.
Yep. Also, he has. I think that that non-viable carpet has the definite advantage on the wide receiver end of things. He has Devontae Adams and Keenan Allen, along with Mark Andrews as his tight end. He even has Hunter Renfrow in the flex, going up against Jarvis Landry, Robert Woods, and T.J. Hawkinson, along with Brandon Cooks. So I think that I give that it's a clear advantage to me for non-viable carpets wide receivers. Any concerns that you see in this matchup? I think it's going to come down to the running back play, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I think it will come down to that running back play. And I agree with you in the fact to say that non-viable carpet has a clear advantage with his wide receivers. I like Devontae Adams a lot this week. Keenan Allen's in a good spot. Hunter Renfro, I know his sleeper projection is at 8 points. I don't believe in that. I think that with the targets that we saw last week, and because Pittsburgh is giving up so much to slot wide receivers, I think he has a pretty clear road to 10, if not more. So I like the Hunter Renfro play in the flex spot. I don't know. If I had to take one team, it'd probably be non-viable carpets team in this one.
Yep, I agree. Sean, who are you personally rooting for that's in this league that you don't want to see necessarily? I kind of have to
Mm.
play favorites here as this thing shakes out. Maybe get some trades along the way. So maybe rooting for somebody else's team could get you some brownie points.
Yeah, first of all, I don't know how the heck Re-Up won the first week. Can we just
Yeah.
start with
Oh
that?
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
this
Let's talk about that.
th- this dude's team is like 97 years old average age, top to bottom, and somehow this is one of the 1-0 teams. Like I don't know if he's listening. I doubt that he is because I know he works during the day. But that being said, like I just genuinely was shocked. I was baffled. Like I saw all the other 1-0 teams and I was like, okay, this makes sense. Brian's team's great. Pretty much great team. Obviously, you guys' teams are awesome. And Secor's team was like one of the one of our favorites coming in. So like I wasn't shocked by any of the other 1-0 teams. But when I saw him, I was like, what? And I clicked on the game. This dude went off last week.
Yeah, he
Not
destroyed Woody's
only is he
team.
1-0, not only is he 1-0, but he's the top scoring team in the league right now,
I
Sean.
know.
He is one. He's number one out of everyone else. So it blows my mind to see the old man squad doing work.
Yeah, seriously though.
Yeah.
170 points. Now Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes did have a great game, but he got 3 points out of Saquon. Josh Jacobs scored
Yeah.
2 touchdowns after being hurt the entire game. Nelson Aguilar scored. Amari Cooper scored 2 touchdowns. He got Gronk had 2 touchdowns. Fournette. David Johnson even scored a touchdown. Yeah, it's crazy.
I
Absolutely
mean,
crazy.
maybe. Hey, listen. Maybe the drafting strategy for this year was actually to just take the oldest guy at every position. I'm pretty sure that's what he started doing late in the draft too.
Oh, he definitely did.
Um, yeah. Anyways, yeah, it was really really surprising to see him. We can definitely talk about people that I'm rooting for this week though. I got to do it because we gotta balance things out a little bit as the season goes on. I just beat Flash last week. Josh, you better not let Flash beat you. That's all I'm
I,
saying. Yo,
hey,
this is the rivalry because both of y'all are Niners fans too.
yes, it is. I don't know. I think it'll be super close. I like the advantages that I do have, but the fact that he does have Swift, who gets to go up against that hampered Green Bay defense, and he has Javante Williams. I don't know,
Yeah.
man. We'll see. His running back core, his four running backs are insane, man. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Alvin Kamara, DeAndre Swift, Javante Williams, and I'm looking to see if he has anyone on the bench. I don't think he does, but just absolutely insane four running backs to have.
I mean, his wideouts are good too. He has Jamar Chase and Julio. Like Julio, obviously, with all the issues that he had with everything last week, that I know you guys have already covered, but like he still has a good receiving core. So I don't know, man. I think Flash's team is really stacked. Are you sweating a little bit, Josh?
A little bit, but I will say I have a huge advantage at the tight end position. And I think
Yeah.
Kelsey has the ability to have kind of one of those weeks that he had last week where he had 2 touchdowns and looked like the tight end one. So I like Kelsey's matchup. I really like Antonio Brown this week. I love all my wide receivers in their spots. And I still think Jalen Hurts has the ability to be the top scoring QB this week as well. So I still like my team. I still like my odds. I'm not counting myself out quite yet.
So last night, funny story, then we can move on to other matchups. I saw it was like 3 a.m. I was about to go to bed and I just jumped off of our server in the RotoRadar Live. And we were just talking, sweating it out, breaking cards, blah, blah, blah. And I see that there's somebody else that's live on Discord, like looking through the channels on the left-hand side. And I'm like, what's going on here? And it was somebody in the Schillerverse, and there was like 4 people that were live on the mic. So I jumped in there, and the first thing that they said, they were like, "Hey, Sean, awesome. It was super cool to watch you on Plunge's stream, blah, blah, blah." And the first thing that they said was, "Hey, I got a fantasy question to ask you. Should I panic on Antonio Gibson?" And, I think that it was, more of one of those reactive situations. I obviously explained to him, like, listen, we have 2 full-time NFL pros that are much sharper than me when it comes to advice. So, I would lean on them if you're actually trying to get advice. But my initial reaction to him was no need to panic. I think that this was one of those situations where McKissick was just having a game. And he certainly showcased that. And we also know McKissick's a great catcher out of the backfield, right? This is a really good pass catching back. And we've seen that. We've seen it in games in years past where he's kind of taken over and he just breaks off huge runs and racks up the yards after catch. So I don't know. I think last night was an anomaly, but I thought it was interesting. And then obviously, they were like, all right, we'll keep him, we'll keep him, we'll keep him. But are you even considering shopping him around after 1 week?
No, I still believe in Gibson. I still think he has the ability to be a top 5 running back this season. Tough week 1. Not really a tough week 1. I mean, the guy had 90 yards and he had more targets than McKissick. I think he just I think what happened in the game last night was the fact that it wasn't necessarily McKissick stealing Gibson's touchdown, but I'm pretty sure Heineke audibled when he saw that the front line for the Giants, there was only like 3 guys there. And that's why McKissick was able to get that touchdown, was because of that audible. So I think if they knew it was going to be a run play, Gibson would have been in. But yeah, it is what it is, man. I'm certainly not shopping him around yet. I think he still has a lot of talent this year.
I mean, I would like to have 4 running backs. I'm just saying.
Well, I need to still have 2, first of all. So I'm stuck with him and Nyheim Hines, and I don't even think I have a running back. No, that's wrong. I have the GOAT Carlos Hyde on the bench, so maybe I am fine with shopping him.
I got a really solid wide receiver 1 in Mike Thomas that's on the shelf for a couple weeks. We can, a 7th round pick for a 2nd round pick seems like a good trade, right?
I think I'll pass, but maybe in the future. Maybe in the future.
All right, we'll see. Yeah, you're gonna wait for Mike Thomas to be back, huh?
Yeah,
I see you. All right, Jared. Who do you got this week?
We have actually some news I want to talk about really quick before we get to my matchup. But I will say before we wrap this matchup up quick that he did have Sterling Shepard on his bench who scored 17.5 points. So that's going to probably come back to burn him because I don't know if Chase can match that output, Josh. So one thing for you to keep an eye out on and feel pretty good about as well. The news that I was talking about was that Brian decided that he wanted to come in right after we stopped talking about his matchup, and he gifted a sub. So, Brian, glad to see you on the stream. We just finished talking about your matchup against Sean, but we're going to revisit it because I think it's definitely appropriate. So, we can talk about that again really quickly, Sean. Yeah, Brian's actually in the chat now.
Yeah, he's going. So now I get to talk shit to his face, which is great. Brian, basically what I said is I appreciate your dono. It was super, super awesome of you to be so kind to toss me a $200 bet. I'm really, listen, we're going to spend it really wisely. We'll probably do it, we'll do a break together and have some fun. Bro, we're taking you down this week. All jokes aside, I think it's going to be a really good matchup. It'll be super sweaty. I'm excited for it. I know who's y'all's pick in the matchup. Who's y'all's pick? Do you think it's Brian or do you think it's me? Who do you guys have this week?
Well, I don't think Brian knows that Balaga is out yet, so I'm sorry, but you just lost one of your best offensive linemen. So I think I think I should lean Sean's way here because I do believe that these point projections for Josh Allen and Christian McCaffrey are a little bit low.
Yeah, I think I end up agreeing with him, and I think Ruggs' projection is low too at 8.7. So I feel like that should probably be 10 plus, and with everything else falling in line, I think I'm slightly leaning towards you, Sean, just slightly.
All right, Brian. It's gonna be a sweat though. I know the odds have you favored. Have you 51-49. So it's really, really close. It's actually the closest projected matchup of the entire week. There's every other matchup it just it's a little bit bigger gap. So it'll be fun. It's going to be a really, really fun sweat. Let's get to some of these other matchups. Should we just do this? I don't know how y'all wanted to do the format, but just throwing this out there. Should we just make our picks for each matchup this week in the high stakes league?
I mean, we certainly can. I do want to get to some questions in the chat too, so we can do that while we're getting ready for this. Non-Viable Carpet said, are you worried about Ruggs' drops on Monday Night Football? I'm not, because we saw what he did in the fourth quarter, right? We saw that 50-yard bomb that kind of saved the game for the team. So I'm not worried about it. he is a boomer bust option, but then at the end of the day, I think he's just fine.
Yeah, I would share the same sentiment. I mean, this is something I kind of knew going into the season. I thought that he would have a much better year this year than he did last year. We'll see if that proves to be the case, but I think that he's always the over the top guy, right? He's always the guy that can give you that deep threat. Um, and that's why he's in the lineup. I think that he gives me a really high upside at the wide receiver position, similar to Hollywood.
I agree with you. Okay, Josh, quick question. We have two QB questions here, 1v1s. Little Italy wants to know, it's a good dilemma to have, but who would you pick between Tom Brady or Justin Herbert?
Ooh, that is tough. Give me Brady though, especially with the news that Herbert lost his right tackle. Give me Brady.
Yep, give me Brady as well. Other quarterback question is Jalen Hurts or Matthew Stafford? I think this one's pretty clear. I think we both go Hurts here.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's just the rushing upside, right? Like, I think both of them will probably do well, but Hurts has that safe floor with all the rushing he will be able to do. So give me Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
Yo, y'all are trolls. I just saw the title of the stream. You guys are such trolls.
Doesn't say
Was
who it
even the
was.
Twitch note.
You were the one that
Yeah.
brought it up.
You guys are such. I mean, listen, I did. I'll own it. I'll own it. Everybody makes mistakes. I had 0 fantasy points from our dynasty league. I just, I thought that having Deshaun Watson would be good vibes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Vibes is something. I don't know about good, but vibes for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go through these things here. Let's go through this matchup. I have Team Reup this week. He did have 8.9 from Saquon Barkley, so I feel like I kind of have a leg up. But at the same, I'm projected for 20 points. Again, I don't necessarily believe in the projection system that much, but it's always fun to talk about. So I don't know. I have it pulled up on the screen here, guys. He does have Mahomes. I have Trevor Lawrence, and then we can go from there. Who do you think wins this one?
Pretty hard not to side with you, right? Like I definitely side with your team here. I think the only spot that you probably lose this matchup is with your QB. I think Lawrence probably does have some trouble with Denver, but outside of that, you win the running back matchup. You certainly win the wide receiver matchup with Hill, Godwin, Higgins, and Robbie Anderson. And I think probably your defense even ends up winning outside of his. So I side with you in this matchup.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's like, you know what? No, fuck it. I'm taking the old man squad here. I'm gonna yo, if Reup wins this damn league, if Reup comes in and drafts a bunch of people that are over 80 years old, I will just not even know what to say. So I'm taking Reup. Everybody likes a good underdog story. I want to see him be the Cinderella of this high stakes league. I'm sorry, Jared, it comes at your expense. I'm rooting for Reup this week.
Yeah, if Reup beats me, I'm gonna not show up on the stream next Friday. That's what's gonna happen.
Good idea.
Because I don't think that there's
Good
any
idea.
way that I lose this one, but I could be wrong. Mahomes is gonna have to go for 50 in order for that to happen, which is not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We talked about Flash and Josh. What are the final consensuses for this one?
Yeah, I would say that I have. Oof. I actually like Josh this week. I think that Josh is going to win. I'm rooting for Flash because I need Josh to be 1-1 just to help with the overall league, and I need Flash since he lost last week to win to balance it out. So like, early in the season, but every win matters. I'm rooting for Flash, but I think Josh does win this matchup. And I think a large part of that is kind of what you said. I mean, Sterling Shepard wound up having an incredible game, and I just don't know if we're going to see the same level of production from his other wideouts. And also, there are some question marks in his lineup. So specifically at the tight end position, I don't know. This is going to be for me a matchup that should be close, but a matchup that I'm actually going to bet on Josh here.
Yeah, we also don't know. Julio's performance kind of last week was pretty pathetic, so hopefully Tennessee does get that thing back together, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I will lean with Josh as well. I do think the point projection is a little bit off here, and a lot of it probably has to do with what Gibson did last night, but I think that Jalen Hurts also has the upside to go at 25 plus, in the spot 20 seems a little bit low. So again, projections is all I like talking about it. I think it's cool to talk about, but I think the projection systems sometimes are wrong in these scenarios. Also, a little plug for the NFL podcast. We are going live right after this and talking week 2 NFL DFS with Josh and I on the RotoRadar podcast on the website. So if you guys are members or have not signed up for the season yet, you still have time to get access to that. We'll be going live after this stream. The reason I say that is because literally every single wide receiver that Josh has, I love this week in DFS. So I actually love them all season, but this week specifically, they're all in amazing smash spots.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, they certainly are.
Okay, next matchup. Talked about this one a lot. It's Sean versus Brian. I lean Sean here. Who do you have, Josh?
I lead Sean.
Uh-oh,
I think Sean leans
2-0,
himself.
baby.
So.
2-0. Watch
Yeah.
out. Watch out. Watch out, guys. 2-0. Yo, are we all going to be 2-0 heading into next week? I don't know.
There's a
We'll
good
see.
shot.
That'd be cool.
I'm sweating more for you guys than I am for myself. So
I will
don't
say
blame
I
don't blame you.
It's kind of a bad look if any of us just go like 0-16, you know? I know that that's not possible,
yeah.
obviously, but it's kind of a bad look, you know? So for us to do well, it's I don't want to say it's like the end all be all. DFS is different than season long, obviously, but I think it's kind of important for us to do well in this league. So let's root for all of us to head into next week 2-0.
Yeah, Brian says family sticks together, he signs their paychecks.
Yeah, right. I mean, listen, they could have picked you, Brian, and it would have been totally fine. They recognize the better team, you know? That's all it is. I don't know. Honestly, it's so fucking
I don't
close.
think neither Josh or I would pass up an opportunity to make fun of Sean in that anyway. So
dude,
I
keep talking about how this guy got beat by me by like 60 points last week. Of course I'm gonna make fun of Sean whenever I get the chance. I even put it in the whatever it was. I even put it in the chat yesterday on my day off. Like I'll take any advantage to make fun of Sean when I can, but this is certainly not one of those spots. I do think he ends up winning that matchup.
Okay, next matchup here, we got to keep rolling along. We have non-viable carpet against Brady Bunch. Very close matchup yet again. I do think that I'm going to go ahead and side with the Kyler Murray paired with the Devontae Adams, Keenan Allen, and Mark Andrews team and go with the underdog in non-viable carpet.
Surprised how they make these odds, because I agree with you. I take NVC here all day, every day. I think this is a fantastic spot for him, and I think that he'll end up doing really well. So, yeah, I got him in this matchup. I will say he does already have one of his flex that are done. He had Thomas, and Lane Thomas only had 45 yards receiving. So I say only 10 points, not the worst, not the best. Definitely in a situation where he probably wanted more. Both defenses obviously already played as well, playing against each other. So, that was kind of a wash. I don't know. This one's really, really close, but I do have the lean with NBC. What about you, Josh?
Yeah, this is where we're different, I guess. I don't think it's close. I think NVC does win this one. I think James White is his projection is kind of low when it comes to PPR. I mean, we saw him be a really good PPR back last week, so I like the White play as your RB2. And then same thing with Hunter Renfrow. We saw Cole Beasley catch 8 passes out of the slot last week. I think you could see something similar from Renfrow this week against Pittsburgh. So I think your projections on specifically those two players are lower than they should be, and I think you should be favored in this one. So NVC would be my winner here.
All right, that's a clean sweep for NVC. Next going is King Rom versus Team Sharp 841. Let's see here. We do have it's kind of lopsided already, leaning towards King Rom. He already has Terry McLaurin. NVC coming through. We picked his team to win, and he gifts 5 subs to the community. You love to see it.
Let's go. Yo, NVC's gonna be a winner every week, baby. Let's go. No, I'm kidding. You can't buy our love. But you can definitely buy our support. No, you can't do that either. You can't buy our love. You can't buy our support. What can you buy? You can buy us subs. You can do that. There you go. Yeah. Congratulations to everybody that got gifted a sub, by the way. Make sure you say thank you to our guy NVC here in the chat.
Yep. We also had a follow from Professor Sass, so appreciate you. I do believe, Josh, that we got some news and want to correct me on this if I'm wrong. but it looks like Josh Jacobs was a DNP today in practice. You see that?
Yep, for the third straight time this week, a DNP. He was out Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So things not looking good on the Jacobs front. I don't know if Jacobs is potentially out for this game. Can you consider? It sounds ugly to say, but a Kenyon Drake possibly as a RB option for this week, Jared?
If you're desperate, I think he makes sense as a flex option. If you're really desperate, as an RB2, possibly. I mean, as your last resort, he's definitely not the worst option. He's definitely a viable option in that case. He also is a pass catching back, and they don't really have anybody else in the depth chart. Usually, when a guy misses 3 straight practices DNP and he misses on Friday for a Sunday game, it's never a good sign. So I think that Josh Jacobs is out. And if anything told us yesterday what his injury designation was, literally everything hurts. So he's probably going to sit and miss this one. Sean, I don't know if you saw this, but when they listed his body part that was supposed to
It was
apparently
the
be hurt,
whole
he literally
everything.
said everything.
Yeah, yeah.
So
No, I did. I saw that. I don't know if you and I were on a show when that happened, or Josh and I don't know. One of us was, but we got a good laugh out of it. I think that it's a, yeah. I don't know. I'm who are we? Which teams are we talking about here? Which two teams is this?
well, it was kind of that news came out of nowhere, so I figured I'd bring it up. But we're talking about King Rom versus Sharp. Uh,
Okay.
right
All
before
right.
the gifted subs, King Rom, I was talking about him having that huge game from Terry McLaurin, and I think
That's
that
right.
is the reason why this thing's going to be so lopsided because I do like the rest of his team outside of Ronald Jones and a little bit of Kyle Pitts too. So for me, I think I lean with King Rom here. Sharp has some very solid options. A very good matchup for Nick Chubb against Houston. Joe Mixon's certainly in play, and then we obviously love Tom Brady this week. The only thing that can make or break Sharp is the actual activity of Mike Evans, and also his Kenny Galladay play did not work out last night. So I think things lean towards King Rom's way.
Yeah, one got off to a great start, one didn't. Right? Terry McLaurin had himself a game yesterday, 100 plus receiving yards with the touchdown. I think that you also have to pay attention to the fact that, like you said, at the flex spot, Kenny Galladay had a very subpar game um, to all standards. I think to anybody that has any Kenny Galladay shares out there are certainly disheartened with that effort last night. So I think, yeah, I'd lean with you. I would agree. I hate to just agree on everything here. It kind of makes for boring listening. But the reality is, this is a team that got off to a whole lot better start than the other side. So I'd lean with King Rom. I think that there still is a path for Sharp to win this week, though.
Yeah, I agree. I'm actually going to go against the grain of you two guys. I'm going to say Sharp wins this one. I like the QB matchup for Sharp. I think Brady greatly outscores what Baker can do. I think that Joe Mixon, with the workload that we've been seeing, could potentially outscore Derrick Henry. And Chubb's in one of the greatest spots matchup wise for any running back this week. Not to mention Deontay Johnson against Vegas should have 10 plus targets, has the potential to have a great PPR game. Well, we are worried a little bit about Mike Evans. We got to remember that he is still a good wide receiver. Maybe Brady ends up working it Mike Evans' way since he wasn't able to in week one. And who knows what Pitts is going to do this week against Tampa. I think that Gerald Everett against that bad Titans defense certainly in play. I guess the most worrisome spot is your running back in Tyson Williams at the bottom here. Outside of that, though, I like the rest of this team. So I'm going to go with the underdog here and go with Sharp.
All right, fair enough. I can buy into it. He just needs to have smash games from the guys that you named, right? That's really all it comes
Yep,
down to.
that
Okay,
is.
2 more matchups to go through, and then we'll answer your guys' season-long questions. Again, the NFL podcast for the DFS slate on Sunday is going to be live for RotoRadar NFL members right after we get off this stream. So make sure to catch us there. We'll have content for you guys literally every second of the day today. Let's see. We have Team B Kent now against Hobby Ray at Black Tie Breaks. So for me, I think obviously the numbers say Black Tie has the edge here, but I'm hesitant to see what Tennessee does, and a lot of that revolves around Tannehill. He has a lot of guys that kind of busted in week 1 that I'm very curious to see how things pan out for him. So I'm going to actually go ahead and lean with B. Kent's side because I kind of know what he's got going for him, and I like some of the matchups that I see right off the top here. I'm very scared of what Zeke and Robinson, or both Robinsons, Allen and James, are going to do in their spots this week. So give me Team B. Kent here.
It was my turn to pick a team, wasn't it? Okay.
Yeah, it's your turn.
I hate that you said Beacon because I thought that I was going to be contrarian when I said Beacon. I just like his team better. Like, really, that's all it comes down to. Like, I just think he drafted a better team than Hobby Ray did. So I would lean with B. Kent, just depth wise, top to bottom. He's strong in every single position, except for tight end, I guess. But I think that this is, call it an upset. Maybe Josh winds up going with who we have sleeper picking as the winner this week, but I'd lean with Beacon as well.
No, I'm going to be with the grain this time, and I'm going to go B. Kent as well, as long as he changes out Sermon. I don't think Sermon's a good play at that flex spot. You do have some good options in Kenneth Gainwell, Tim Patrick, maybe even Cole Kmet. You should have Cole Kmet at tight end, not Jonnu Smith anyway. Regardless, though, I side here with Team B. Kent. I think, like Jared said, Zeke, kind of a question mark right now. James Robinson, definitely a question mark. Allen Robinson won't be good until they have Fields back on the field. And Parker is going to be hurt by Will Fuller coming back from suspension this week. So I like the Higbee play a lot. I think Higbee is one of the top tight ends when it comes to where people drafted him this season. But outside of that, I think that Hobby Ray team's kind of rough. So I lean with B. Kent here.
Yeah, and I would never do this, but it is interesting to see that he does have Daniel Jones on his bench, and there's a really good chance Tannehill doesn't outscore him this week. So
Yeah.
29 actual fantasy points from Daniel Jones is a rough look on the bench. A rough look, especially against Washington. That you would never have expected that, so that's very, very interesting. He also does have Mike Williams on the bench. I mean, I love Mike Williams, so I'm a little bit of a bias towards him. I'd probably switch him out for Juju or Debo Samuel. Okay, last matchup on the board here is Secor against Boston Woody. Woody 9883. Let's see here. We have another really close matchup. All these matchups are really close for the most part in terms of percentages here. So let's see. We have Russ Wilson versus Matt Stafford. I think that the running back cores are definitely swinging towards C core, and then the wide receivers actually like Woody's a lot better in Hopkins and Diggs, and he has Elijah Mitchell. He was the one that picked up Elijah Mitchell this week. Woody was. So I understand why the algorithm would rank Secor's team better, but again, I'm going to go with the underdog here and go with Woody.
Yeah, I think that the algorithm's drunk because I just basically everybody that we like is an underdog. We liked me, I'm the underdog. Josh is the underdog. We like non-viable carpet. He's the underdog. We talked about the fact that Sharp definitely could win. He's the underdog. We talked about B Kent. He's the underdog, and I picked Re-Up. I know that's a stretch, but I picked Re-Up, and I know that he's a severe underdog. So like literally every underdog is kind of favored to win this week outside of Re-Up against you. I'm not going to disagree either. I think that Secor would have been in a really good position had he started McKissick, who is sitting on his bench right now. Um, he had himself a game last night. I think that that certainly would have helped things play out a little bit better for him. But to that point, obviously he didn't. And I can't fault him for not, right? He has a really, really good flex spots in both Lockett and Smith. So, like his team is very deep. Congratulations for drafting a good team. But it's not about how deep your team is, it's about how good your starters are. And I think that this week, Woody has the better starters.
See, I guess I'm just gonna have to disagree with you guys again. I'm surprised I'm the only one disagreeing here, but I kind of lean with Secor's team. I like the fact that his running backs are so much better than Woody's. Woody has Miles Sanders, who I think could potentially have a little bit of trouble this week with that San Fran defense. We already heard that Zach Moss is going to be active this week, so I think Singletary is going to have a little bit of a problem as well. And I like Elijah Mitchell, but I think he's super boomer bust. I think all it takes is one or two bad drives from Elijah Mitchell, and you will see Trey Sermon in the game taking over those between the 20s running attempts. So The fact that Secor has the better running backs, he has a decent enough wide receiver crew, especially with Lockett, who kind of takes away the upside that Woody has with Wilson. I don't know. I just slightly lean Secor, but I do think it is going to be a close matchup.
Yeah, lots of close matchups this week, Jared.
A lot of them. And we'll just have to see how this one plays out. Most interested to see, obviously, how yours plans out, Sean, because we're going to be sweating that, I think, on Sunday Night Football. I really think it's going to come down to that.
You
but
really
yeah,
do. You think
I
it's gonna
really
be like
do.
a tie game heading in?
Yeah, I really do. I think whoever scores a touchdown for the Ravens, I think, is the winner on Sunday.
No way. That'd be a sweat, bro. That'd be a sweat. Let's go, Brian. We're taking your money, baby. I've never felt so good about taking a member's money than right now in this specific moment. Never felt so good. I will feel a little bad for you for like a second, and then I'll just be really happy that I won. And then I'll probably give you something just because I feel bad. Anyways, it's gonna be a whole complicated issue, but I'm excited.
For sure. All right, we are going to obviously we're running out of time here on the stream, so we're going to take the last 10 minutes and answer all the questions that we missed out on before. And I want to circle back again to the Will Fuller news that we talked about earlier on the stream. Josh, he's actually out this week for personal reasons. So even though he is eligible to come back, he will not be coming back this week. So does that change anything for you in terms of Gesicki?
No, not really. I mean, we still didn't see Gasecki get many targets last week or much playing time, regardless. So no, it doesn't change much. I still think Gasecki is a boomer bust option for sure.
Yeah. Also, Sean, if you want to say anything specifically in regards to the NFL Week 2 or anything else going on here, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. So if you feel
Yeah.
free, you can drop the stream if you want, or if you want to stay on for the next 10 minutes, you can do so as well.
I gotta run because I have a phone call at the bottom of the hour. Then I'm actually jumping on Schiller's stream at the top of the hour. We're gonna be talking about the NFT and talking about a lot of the background about it. So, guys, definitely, if you want to hop on and you're not an NFL member and just hear more about the NFT, feel free. Go head over to Schiller's stream. I'll be there at the top of the hour. And if you are an NFL member, you better be listening to the damn podcast. So you have a lot of different choices, a lot of different options. Can't thank you guys enough. Super fun. Really excited for this week.
I'm excited too. I think it's going to be an amazing week. We'll catch you all later.
We'll catch you later. Right in the middle of my ending take there. Yeah,
That's rough. That's rough, man.
It was really bad timing for a sneeze. Love you guys. We'll talk soon. Good afternoon. Good skill. God bless.
All right, guys. We're going to be taking some more questions here that we missed out on earlier in the stream. Okay, let's start with Rye Guy. I know that you posted something just now, but I want to revert back to it earlier in the stream. So, flex PPR options, Josh. Kareem Hunt, James Robinson, Cortland Sutton, Robbie Anderson, or Elijah Mitchell.
I think I lean with Cortland Sutton there, in all honesty. I like the Sutton matchup. I like the fact that he's without Judy now, so should be more targets for him. And I like the matchup the most. So give me Sutton out of all those guys.
I lean with Sutton. I think your other option, if you're not too sure of Sutton, because at the end of the day, this is your call, right? I would take Kareem Hunt as well. I think he's a solid option out of the rest of those guys. He'd probably be my second choice. Now, neither of us said Elijah Mitchell, so that kind of tells you kind of where we lean and how this thing shakes out this week.
For sure.
James Conner or Ronald Jones? Give me James Conner in that pace-up spot against Minnesota.
Yeah, I agree. All he needs to do is get into the end zone once, and you feel really solid about that. And who knows what Ronald Jones's workload is going to look like with Tom Brady kind of taking over, I think, in Tampa. So, yeah, I agree with you, Jared.
All right. Mike Davis versus Elijah Mitchell.
Mike Davis, workload.
Agreed. Now, this is not DFS related, so I mean, like, when you talk about the price tags of the guy, obviously I think you probably lean Elijah a little bit just because of where he's priced at. But again, this is season long, guys, so don't take things literally for what we say for DFS for this show. CEH or Damian Harris? That's actually close.
Yeah.
Give me Damian Harris, actually.
Give me Damian Harris as well.
Okay, let's scroll down here. We got some of these. Is Hollywood playing? We already covered that. I do believe he'll be just fine. Non-viable carpet. I think that your bench is better than Sean's. I don't think that's even close.
Yeah.
Quick question. We already covered Jalen Hurts, Matthew Stafford. Jalen Hurts it is. Let's see. Going down the list, we already covered this too. Yep, don't sell Gibson yet, guys. He'll be just fine. He had what I thought was a great matchup last night, but apparently that didn't work out. Okay. He's D Ramified says, if I have Russ at QB, do I take Metcalf or Tyler Lockett? If you have both of them, that's actually crazy. All three of them, that's actually crazy. But if you do, I actually think that DK Metcalf has the better game this week.
I would agree with that. I lean DK, but that's one of the harder ways to go is to figure out which one to play. So
Yeah,
I would lean Metcalf slightly, but it's tough.
Metcalf gets the same type of coverage that DeAndre Hopkins saw last week, so that's kind of where my head's at with that. I think that he'll be able to kind of bully that matchup like Hopkins did last week. All right. I think there's a few more here. Yeah, we're definitely not down on Elijah Mitchell, but I think we're down a little bit further on him than we were earlier in the week before all this stuff started happening. And can you discuss what Ayuk being out would do to Mitchell versus if he was in? Does that matter?
I don't think it necessarily matters that much. Yeah, I don't think it matters at the end of the day. I think the reason that I'm a little bit more down on Mitchell is just how boomer bust this is. Because either he does do well and you're gonna feel really happy that you picked him up off of waivers, or he's gonna struggle through a couple series and then you're gonna see them go to Sermon and not look back, and they're gonna ride the hot hand approach. You gotta always remember that with those running backs, Shanahan is always gonna lean with the hotter one. So if Sermon has a couple of carries and looks better, then Sermon's gonna take over the game, and vice versa as well. If Sermon starts out the game, looks really bad, then you'll see Elijah Mitchell take over. It's really hard to pin down that running back situation. I'd rather go with the more sure thing for season-long fantasy. So that's why I'm kind of staying off the Elijah Mitchell plays for the most part.
Okay. A couple more questions to go here, and then we'll wrap things up. We also have a FanDuel voucher to give away, so we'll be giving that out at the end of the stream. I think we can take 3 or 4 more questions here in the amount of time that we have left. Van Jefferson or Cedric Wilson for sleeper scoring? Give me Cedric Wilson. I think that's a clear play. I know Van Jefferson scored a touchdown last week, but with Michael Gallup being out, you should see Cedric step in on that 3 wide receiver set that they like to run a lot.
Give me Van Jefferson, man. I'm surprised we kind of disagree here, but he saw the field 65% of the time last week, and I think him only getting 3 targets was an anomaly. I think you can expect more from him. So I like the Van Jefferson play.
I wasn't sure if it was going to be Deshaun Jackson or Van Jefferson stepping in. We saw a little bit of Jackson, but not much. So the fact that maybe they're leaning that way is interesting to see, to say the least. Okay, Tyson Williams or Claypool in PPR?
Easy Claypool. I don't even think it's close for me.
It's not close for me either. Claypool is the dude. I'm really, really low on Tyson as well as all the Baltimore running backs now outside of Lamar Jackson. Okay. Let's see. Mitchell, Beasley, Claypool, or Aguilar can only have 1 in half PPR. I'll read the names again. Half PPR. Mitchell, Elijah Mitchell, Cole Beasley, Chase Claypool, Nelson Aguilar.
Give me Chase Claypool against Vegas.
I think he has the best touchdown equity out of all of those 4 players. And then I would take Beasley actually over Mitchell as well.
Yeah.
All right. You have to choose between trading Metcalf or trading for Metcalf or Lockett. Still give me a Metcalf. I think he's got the better touchdown equity in season long.
Same.
Thoughts on dropping Sony Michel?
Love it. I don't think he's going to be that. Well, do you have Darrell Henderson? I think if you have Henderson, you keep Michel as your handcuff. But if you don't have Henderson, maybe try to trade him to the guy who has Henderson.
Sony Michel is interesting. Yeah.
I would say don't plan on playing him. That's for sure. Unless Henderson gets hurt, I think he's fantasy irrelevant.
Yeah, I agree with you. Any love for Marquise Godwin? Goodwin from the Bears. Definitely not Godwin. Marquise Goodwin in the receiver 3. You can make a case that he's even wide receiver 4 in that system. I have no interest. I don't think he's even draftable. I don't think he's even a flex 2 option. So that's kind of how I view that play.
Yep, same here. There's just better options this week.
Deramified. Hold off on trading Fantilles this week. I would say hold off on that.
Going to be key to trade him after this week, after he has an
Agreed.
amazing performance.
Sell high. Cardenas wants to know if you'd go Callaway or Renfro in sleeper.
Jeez, that's tough. I think I slightly lean Renfro, but I don't know. It's close for me.
Yeah. Interesting to see what the Saints are going to do moving forward, especially. I know it hasn't happened yet, but Kenny Stills is going to be on that roster eventually, and Traquan Smith comes back relatively soon. So Callaway only has a few more weeks of real fantasy viable play, whereas Renfro is more of like the season long. I think he's safe in that offense. Okay. We have 2 more questions left, and then we'll pick the FanDuel voucher winner for Friday. Again, this is for today's MLB contest, whatever the slam is today. So we have Mike Williams, Jarvis Landry, or Deontay Johnson for half PPR. The guys again are Mike Williams, Jarvis Landry, or Deontay Johnson.
Give me Mike Williams.
Yep, exactly who I was going to go with. I already said I crush on that dude all the time. He's actually one of my favorite plays of the week. So we'll talk about that here on the podcast here in a little bit. And then final question from Goosty. Do you like Devin Singletary or Mike Davis?
Mike Davis, especially because they announced that Moss is going to be he's going to be active this week. So I don't think Singletary is going to be that RB1 anymore.
I agree. All right, guys, we have a FanDuel voucher to give away, and I'm gonna just give it to that third to last question here, and give it to Mr. Christian Cardenas 2097. Appreciate you hanging out today, sir. I saw that you were sweating a lot last night when we were talking about that Thursday night football game. Josh, I know we have an NFL slate to talk about here, but do you have any thoughts for tonight's college football slate?
Nope, not providing for it. Only a 2-gamer. So these Friday slates I will be providing for, trying my best to provide for when they're good slates. But I did my initial research and not digging it. So I'm gonna stay far away.
As always, all of these videos, including this entire stream, are going to be uploaded to our YouTube page, whether that be the morning after, whether that be the FanDuel or DraftKings first looks from earlier in the week, whether it be Josh and I's game on Wednesdays, my own solo show yesterday. All that stuff is on YouTube at RotoRadar-Daily Fantasy Sports. If you type that in the search bar on YouTube, you'll find it right away. Make sure to like and subscribe to that channel. It's absolutely 100% free. And then we'll catch you guys here on the NFL podcast on rotoradar.net. As always, good afternoon and good skill.